What's up, guys? I wanted to do another quick video. This is the first time I've ever done two videos in a day, but this one's gonna be kind of not as long as all my other videos. Um, I wanted to talk real quick about the DLC uh, that's they have planned for this game. Somebody wanted to know what I thought about it, so I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet. If you've watched my past videos, anytime I've ever talked about DLC, it's never been positive. And honestly, I feel the same. I don't I don't support DLC for the most part. If there is DLC content that adds something to the game and the game is already a really good game, but it's adding something completely new that doesn't feel like it was uh, taken away from the original product, I could support that. There are some cases where a game that's really good, they come out with some DLC, but it's like it adds a whole new chapter to a story. Things like on Grant, for Red Dead Redemption. I don't know how many of you guys played that game, but to me, it's probably the greatest game I've ever played. I love that game. Can't wait for the second part, but they came out with DLC, and it was a whole new game. It was a zombie chapter. It had nothing to do with with the original game, but it was like a whole new game. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto 4. They had the Ballad of Gay Tony. They had the one with the motorcycle gang. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry, but those were whole new storylines and chapters to an already great game. So I don't mind stuff like that because that really is something new, fresh, and it doesn't feel like it was something that could have been in the original game. It feels like a whole new section, but that's rare. You don't see that a lot. And most games today, and unfortunately, it seems like that's the way the gaming industry has, become. And it's just adding garbage. Stuff like skins, uh, things that don't really add value to the game, and could have been a part of the original game as just little extras, things we used to get years ago as part of the game, right? The early EA games, we had every multiple paint schemes for every car. It was crammed with a lot more content, and that's why we keep seeing these games that feel bare bones, like they don't have a lot of content because they're stripped so that they can charge you for it later as DLC. I don't support that business model, and in terms of what we've seen in past years with NASCAR games, I hate that business model, and I will never give a dime to for DLC, for skins, for paint schemes, spotter packs, and what 704 Games is doing now. They are going to have a DLC season pass for $30, and it's going to be extra paint schemes, spotter packs, like I guess different sounding spotters, and I forgot what else, but challenges, right? I've never been real big on challenges either. Challenges for me have always been something that you do it once, it might be interesting, but after you beat the challenge, I don't do them again. I've never done them twice, and I'm definitely not going to pay $30 for a season pass for a bunch of paint schemes, a spotter pack, and some challenges. And then that brings me to something else. I've talked about the $50 price tag on this game when they first announced it, and I said I didn't know how I felt about it. You know, in, initially it looks good because who doesn't want a cheaper game, right? $50 is better than $60, but I said before, and I'll say it again, I'd rather pay a full $60 price tag on a game that the developer feels fully confident is a good product. and charge me $60 and throw in these extra spotters and paint schemes, okay? And then this way the game feels like it has even more content like we used to have. And you pay $60. Okay, that's a lot of money for a game. But see, that's not what these developers do anymore. They take stuff and that could have been part of the original game and they just keep it on the side, and then they want to charge you later for skins. That's what this is. Skins and spotter packs. It doesn't really add value to the game, in my opinion. And I don't support the business model. And the only DLC I will support from 704 games is something that truly adds something to the game. Substantial. I'm not paying $30 for no stupid season pass. I don't support the business model. And I've come down on them. I came down on them last year. Last year you saw we had a bare bones product. It was a bare bones game, and still they found the resources to make DLC, paint schemes, and all this other stuff that didn't add anything to the game. And you see people, they're like, "Oh, I want to get that. I'm so interested. $10 for a bunch of paint schemes." I don't get it, man. And I don't like telling people what to do. You know, I tell you my opinion and the things that I believe, and I try to convince you because I truly believe that what we're doing when we support DLC like that, we contribute to the destruction of the gaming community. And the way that this business model works, if you support it, they're going to keep doing it. Don't buy it. If nobody buys this stuff, they'll stop doing it. And this is what really pissed me off last year. Everyone kept saying how they're just a small company, they're limited resources, and they didn't have a lot of time or money to put into the game, which is why it was so bare bones. But yet, this company still had the time and the resources to work on DLC. They had the time and the resources to work on other things like this other mobile gaming stuff that I also don't get. You know, if you're a small developer, you should be completely focused on the main product. And this is the type of disconnect that I feel at times with this company. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing these guys or really coming down hard on them. As I said before, I am excited. It does seem like they've really stepped up their game and they added a lot of stuff to this game this year. But, you know, just because I'm happy about that and I like the direction they're headed, that doesn't mean that this DLC stuff is okay. And it makes me question, right? This is another red flag. You know, you're charging only $50 for the game, right? So it's $10 cheaper than a regular $60 game. But then they turn around and they want you to pay $30 for a fucking season pass. For what? Paint schemes? A couple of different spotters and some challenges? You're not going to get me with that. I'm not going to support that. I don't believe in that business model. I think it's a ripoff. And I'd much rather they just charge me $60 full price for the game, stand behind your product, and add this stuff to it. Okay? Then people have some extra paint schemes and stuff like that. But don't turn around and ask me $30 fucking dollars. So the regular game's $50, but you want $30 for a season pass for this stuff. I'm not doing it. And this is what a lot of this isn't just about 704 games. I'm not coming down on them I'm not just aiming at them. This is a complete gaming industry-wide problem. And you see all these other games, Destiny, all these big titles. And you see these preseason, buy this game, $99.99, $100. But it comes with all these extra little skins and guns and special packs. I think the people that spend extra for all that stuff, they're crazy. And they're helping to contribute to this problem. And that's why these developers work so... They spend a lot of resources for this side stuff that does not really add anything to the game. And stuff that we used to get as part of the game itself. As a complete product. So now they want to charge you for the game. And then they... $30? Come on, man. I mean, if you buy the game and this season pass, you're paying $80 fucking dollars. And think about what you're getting. I don't support it. I appreciate that you guys, want to know what I think about it, but that's what I think about it. And I'm still rooting for these guys. I really hope this game turns out to be, all that it can be. But I can't lie. There are red flags. And things like I talked about earlier with the, the difficulty of the game, and it needs to be challenging. That's a huge, huge problem. Potential problem, right? We don't know if it's an issue. And like I said, I'm only judging based on whatever gameplay they've released. But there's a reason. Why aren't they showing something that looks super hard and challenging? It's like they're so dead focused on casual to babies. When your audience and your market is mostly hardcore NASCAR fans. Don't treat us like children. Have a little more respect for us and give us more of a challenge. People that buy Project Cars, Gran Turismo, or Assetto Corsa, all these other games, they're getting more realistic graphics, physics, handling, much more challenging gameplay, because the developers of those games realize that the people that buy those games are hardcore race fans. Very few casual fans go out and buy these games, And I think 704 is making a mistake. And I think they really need to start pushing more towards, a little bit more towards simulation. Try to be a little more hardcore. And stop focusing on DLC, man. This thing gives you a bad name. And I don't like that. And I know everybody's doing it. And I've heard it from other people like, oh, that's the way it is today. Well, that's the kind of shit that bothers me, because if we stop giving them money for that stuff, they'll stop doing it, because that's time and resources they're spending. And they do it because people keep buying it. And now you feel like they're giving you a bargain, $50 for the game, but then they're telling you, oh, season pass, $30. $30? Come on, man. So now I guarantee you there's people out there who say, well, if I'm only paying $50 for the game, what the hell? They're not being greedy here. I'll buy this. But at the end of the day, you're paying $80 fucking dollars. And you're not really getting much more for your for the money. There's not real value there. It's paint schemes. Paint schemes and some spotter packs and whatever else. Whatever else comes with it, it's not worth it. So I don't support that business model, and I just won't do it. And like I said, there are times where DLC brings real value to a game that's already good. And I'm happy to support that. But not this, man. So that's what I think of the DLC. And I'm telling you now, if this game, when it comes out, has major issues, right? Then their focus needs to be patching this game. And this is what pissed me off about last year as well. They kind of left that game, they abandoned it, right? They didn't really fix anything. They didn't really try. Utechnics at least put patches out. Even though they did a half-assed job at it, at least they put some effort into it. These guys last year, okay, they just the game was what it was, and then they still had the gall to put out DLC and paint schemes and all this other stuff and talk about challenges and spotter packs. Meanwhile, you got a bare bones game that was loaded with problems. And that's what gives a developer a bad name. Now, It does look like these guys have really stepped up this year. They're adding a lot of stuff to this game, but I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm going to look the other way. Now, I didn't really talk about DLC because it's something that I when I see this stuff, I kind of just I shut it out because I don't even care about it. All right, that's why I don't fully know everything that's involved with it, but I know it doesn't add real value, and it damn sure isn't worth $30. So just you're charging $50 on this end and then 30 here for what? It doesn't make sense. And like I told you guys all the time, I look at things, I try to use logic, and some things just don't make sense. And you could tell me, oh, this is the way the gaming industry works now, and I don't care. So I don't support it. That's how I feel about it. And I truly hope that 704 Games doesn't drop the ball. It looks like they really stepped up. They're adding a lot of good stuff to this game. And I hope that when they start releasing information about the career mode and other stuff, that it just keeps getting better. All right? And if the game turns out to be decent, you know what? That'll be a good thing. But it still isn't going to make me pay $30 for something I don't think is worth it. And I damn sure think it should have been part of the game. Because we used to get games that had multiple paint schemes. Every driver had like a bunch of paint schemes. Now they want to parcel the stuff out and sell it to you later. You know, if you believe in your product, cram all of the stuff into the main product and then charge a full $60 for it. And once you build that trust and that reputation, and people now, okay, now you guys have shown me you guys are capable. You guys have given us something of value, right? Because $60 is still a lot of money, right? But at least you can help build your reputation to something much more positive than it was last year. But this kind of stuff, it makes me look at you kind of sideways, and I'm like, come on, man. So I appreciate all the work going into this game, but I can't support this. So that's all I got to say about it. What do you guys think? And I appreciate you guys, you know, that comment and talk to me and stuff. And this is all about one thing, trying to get us the best possible games. Don't ever forget that. You know, this isn't about me. This isn't about a guy trying to make money on a YouTube channel, or trying to get 1 million subscribers and trying to get likes and dislikes, or I mean likes and none of that matters to me, right? And I don't have a big following, but together, I'm trying to get us all together, including all these other YouTubers who are much bigger than me, and you guys who've helped me out and have done what I've asked when I've asked for help and trying to communicate with the developer. So I thank you for that, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to keep us on the same page, because if we're all on the same page, the message gets through much better, much clearer, and these developers, they're listening to us. They know what's happening, they're paying attention, and if we're unified and we're all on the same page together, it's much better than everybody's on a different page. One guy's complaining about one thing, one guy says, no, I do like that, but this ain't, you're wrong, he's right. Then no message gets through. And then it's like, okay, it's one dude on YouTube with no followers. Who cares what he thinks? But if we're all together and we're all unified, and this is, of course, if you guys agree with my opinions. If you don't, then you don't. That's another story. But if we stick together and we remain unified, these games are just going to get better, man. So in spite of any negativity or any things that I found that, you know, red flags as I you know, so to speak, it doesn't mean that I'm down on the game. You know, and no matter what happens, this game so far seems to be headed in a good direction, and we want to keep pushing it in the right direction. And when they're doing something that's not right, we want to try to steer them back on the right path. And right now, from what I see, these guys are a little too focused on dumbing the game down, making it too easy. I don't like that. That's not good for anybody. I'm trying to get them to the other direction. And if we all do this together, It's gonna have an effect at some point. So thanks for listening. I look forward to your comments. And when there's more information, I'll do another video. So thanks for listening. See you guys around.